Um, so section 11.2, permutations, okay, it says order matters. In other words, it matters which order we pick things. So for example, let me give you two different situations with kind of the same idea. If I'm trying to make a team of 3 people, okay, and I just want to pick any 3 people. There is no importance of who gets picked or anything like that. I just want to pick 3 people. Then order doesn't matter because I just got to pick 3 people and they are a team. Okay, so that's what's called a combination, not a permutation. That's going to be 11.3. 11.2 is, let's take that same situation. I'm going to pick 3 people, but the first person I pick will be the leader of the team. The other 2 are just going to be team members. Does order matter in that case? Well, yeah, because whoever I pick first is in charge, right? So maybe you want to be picked first because you want to be in charge. So the order would matter, because if I didn't pick you first and you wanted to be in charge, now you're just following orders, and the other person who I pick first is the one that's in charge. So order matters in that situation. Those are permutations when order makes a difference, right? If I'm picking a team of 3 and the first person is the president, the second person is vice president, the third person is a secretary, order matters, because you'd rather maybe be the president, not the vice president, or maybe you don't want to be the secretary, right? So order matters in that situation. So a permutation is what we would use. Okay, so there's button presses for all of this. Okay, so first off, I want to talk to you guys about what a factorial is. So a factorial is basically a number that gets counted down and multiplied. So I put right here factorials n with an exclamation mark. That exclamation mark is called a factorial. So that's the way we say this thing in red right here, n factorial. Okay, the definition of n factorial is that you multiply n times, well, 1 less than n, so n minus 1, and then 1 less than that, so it'd be n minus 2 times n minus 3 times etc. until you basically get to the number 1. You multiply it all out. Now, I know this looks really complicated. Don't worry, it's simple. We're going to be using numbers. So for example, if I tell you to find me 5 factorial, it's the same as doing 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. It's a countdown. So 10 factorial would be 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, all multiplied together. Now, you could do 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. Get a calculator. You can do 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. 5 times 4, that's 20. 20 times 3 is 60. 60 times 2 is 120. Times 1 is still 120. So this answer comes out to 120. So you can multiply it all out and get 120. Or you can use a shortcut. So for you guys, I'm not sure if you have to press Shift and the x to the -1 button first, or if you press the number 5 and then do that. Can you guys tell me which way it is? Sorry? The number. So press 5 and then Shift to x to the -1. It'll bring out a little exclamation mark. Hit Enter, and it should give you 120. Unless your calculator is different, but did it work for you? Yes. Okay. So yeah, some calculators you need to find it within menus and stuff like that. But there you go. Okay. Now, what would be like 3 factorial? Well, that's supposed to be 3 times 2 times 1, so it should be a 6, right? But try it on your calculator. Make sure that you're getting the right answer so you know how to use that function. So anytime you have to do a calculation of a factorial, just remember it's a countdown, okay? So if they tell you 20 factorial, which I don't think they'll ever tell you that, but if they did, you'd have to multiply 20 times 19 times 18 times 17 times 16. But if you tried it on your calculator, it's probably going to give you some kind of exponential function, like times 10 to the something power, okay? Because that's a really big number. So are we okay with factorials and how those work? Basic, right? So anytime you see a number with an exclamation mark, it means you're multiplying as a countdown. So 4 factorial would be 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. By the way, you girls just walked in. Grab a calculator because you're going to want to know how to use these functions. Okay. So this is the shortcut so you can do this without actually multiplying. Okay. Grab a calculator. Okay, great. So, all right. So that's just the intro of factorials. Okay. But yeah, you're going to want to use a calculator. Make sure that you're used to that function. Now, permutations is how we're going to do these problems. Okay. So a permutation, it says given n items and you take r of them, and order matters, then NPR, that's the way you're going to write it. Okay. So n permute r is equal to n factorial over n minus r factorial. Okay. Now, there is a shortcut to this. There's a button press. Okay. And let me look to see where that is. I think it's on the left side of the chart, but let me see. Oh, no. It's shift times. Shift times. So on your calculator, you're going to press shift and then the times button. And you'll see an NPR. And the way you use it is you're going to put a number and then hit shift times. And then you're going to put another number. And it might say like 5P3. Okay. So 5 permute 3 or 2 permute 1 or 4 permute 4. So you got to put numbers on the left and right side of that command. Okay. But NPR, this part right here, n permute r, basically means you got n number of items and you're going to permute them r number of times. You're picking them. Okay? But remember, the important thing about it is that order matters. Okay? Order matters. So if you're reading a problem, go ahead and take calculator. If you're reading a problem and as you're reading it, they say, oh, you're going to go to the store and you're going to pick 3 candy bars. Well, order probably doesn't matter for 3 candy bars unless like it's important to you, right? But if it is important to you, the order in which you pick the candy bars, then order matters. So you would do a permutation. If order doesn't matter, you would do what we're going to do not tomorrow, Monday, which is a combination. Okay. But if order matters, then we'll use permutations. The shortcut is shift times. Okay. Shift times. So let's look at some examples. I think I got like 4 examples total, A, B, C, and D, I think. So I want to know the number of possibilities. Okay. Part A says Samantha has 5 classes. She is deciding which order to take them in. Now that's kind of a not too specific statement, but she has 5 classes. She has to figure out how to organize them. How many classes is she organizing? 5. So she has 5 classes and she has to pick 5 of them to organize, right? So 5, pick 5. So 5 permute 5. Because would the order matter to you? What order you're taking your classes in or not? It wouldn't for you? For me, it would. I would want math in the morning because to me, my brain works best in the morning. So math makes more sense. I would hate to have math at the end of the day when I'm tired and I just don't want to be here anymore. Math to me is an important subject, so I don't want to take it at the end of the day. So it matters to me, right? I don't care when I take English. That doesn't matter. It could be at the end of the day. So I can organize my classes based on what I would like, right? So to me, order does matter here. For some people, it may not, okay? But since we are using permutations, they're assuming order is going to matter to the person, right? So for part A, Samantha has 5 classes. She is deciding which order to take them in. So this is how I would write the problem. 5 permute 5. Okay? Now, remember, this is your N. Let me just kind of write it out. This is your N and this is your R. Okay? So according to the to the definition, I'll write it over here on the side. NPR is n factorial over n minus r factorial. This problem is supposed to look like this. 5 factorial over 5 minus 5 factorial, which is 5 factorial over 0 factorial. What's 0 factorial? Do it. What does it give you? A 1. So this comes out to 120 over 1. That means there's 120 possibilities for you to organize 5 classes in a day. There's 120 ways. Okay? Now, if you don't want to do all that work, you could just do the shortcut. So you would just press 5 and then shift and then times to get the NPR and then 5 again and then hit equals. And that should give you the same answer, right? So you can just do the shortcut. You don't have to do this part, okay? That's why I'm showing you the shortcut, so it could be a little faster for you. So you're gonna put 5 permute 5, or just you can work it out by hand, or you can just press the buttons. It should give you the same answer of 120. Okay, and remember, Quincy, for yours, press the probability button, and there should be like a P, I think, right? One NPR. So yeah, press that one, but you got to put a number first. So put like 5, and then go to, yeah, press that, and then press 5 again, and hit enter, and there you go, 120. Yeah, every calculator is a little different. That's why if you, I know like for the black ones, or some of you guys have the same calculator, but in blue, it says 5P5, right? For like Quincy's, it says 5 NPR 5, same thing, right? It's just telling you we're using the NPR function. But yeah, so pretty easy, right? Just plug in the numbers. So here we go. Part B, there are 30 people in a group. There will be 3 will be chosen as captain, co-captain, and equipment manager. Should it matter which order that you're picking them in for some people? You think it's going to be like, yeah, I want to be captain and I want to be co-captain. I don't want to be equipment manager, right? So we're going to pick 3 people from 30, right? So 30, pick 3. Okay? 30 picking 3. So 30 permute 3. That's going to be 30 factorial over 30 minus 3 factorial, which is 30 factorial over 27 factorial. So that's basically 30, 29, 28. So let's see, 30. This basically comes out to 30 times 29 times 28 if you cancel everything out, which is what? 30 times 29 times 28. It's 24,360. But we don't have to worry about that. Just press the function, right? Press 30, shift times 3, hit enter, and you should get the same number. Okay, I'm going to verify, but 30, 24,360. There you go. So you don't have to worry about doing the math to this. You know the shortcut on the calculator. Use it. Okay? So just use it on the calculator. All right. I think it's just 3 problems. So here we go. This is the last one. Okay. You are setting up the combination of a 4-digit lock. You want to use the numbers 1, 5, 3, and 8. Okay. Now, a lot of times this one tricks people because they think order doesn't matter. I can use 1, 5, 3, and 8. Who cares what order they're in? Right? But here's where order matters. I have to use 4 numbers, right? And all 4 have to be used. So once I pick the first one, let's say I pick 8. Can I use 8 anymore? If I got to use all 4 numbers? No. So does order matter? It does, because whatever number I pick first can no longer be used. So if I wanted to end with an 8, then I cannot use 8 in the beginning, in the second place, in the third place. It has to come out in the last place. If I wanted to start with an 8, then I have to pick it first. It has to be 8 first. But then I can put a 5, a 3, and a 1 in the second place, and then the next one, and then the next, right? It matters because it depends on what combination you want. You know you have to use these 4 numbers. The order in which you see them might make a difference. You might be partial to always starting with 1, right? So this is a permutation. We have 4 numbers. We're going to pick 4 of them to use. Okay, so it's 4p4. So we're going to write 4p, get a calculator, unless you have them. So 4 permute 4. We got 4 numbers, and we're going to pick 4 of them. Okay, and order, like I said, does matter. I know for some of you guys are thinking, yeah, but it doesn't matter. But the thing is, in this case, once you pick one of the numbers, you can no longer pick it. So it's important that we know that. Now, if I could use 1, 5, 3, and 8, but I can use any numbers in any order and they can be used again, then that doesn't matter at all. That's what's called a combination. We're going to do that on Monday, where it just doesn't matter. I can pick 1, 1, 1, 1, and that'd be fine. Okay. But in our case right here, it is going to matter. So this is 4 factorial over 4 minus 4 factorial, which is 4 factorial over 0 factorial. 4 times 3 is 12, times 2 is 24. That does come out to 24, right? Okay, so there you go. Just press 4, shift times 4, and then you get 24. Okay, so again, on your calculator, you're going to press 4, shift times, and then 4, and then hit equals. And that should give you the same answer. So the main thing about permutations, guys, this is like the harder one of the two between permutations and combinations. Permutations is the tougher one to understand because you have to ask yourself, not so much you personally, because I was, when I was asking some of these questions, like not to pick on some of you guys, but when I asked the first question right here, you got 5 classes. You got to put them, you got to organize them. Should it matter? I saw some of you guys, right, being like, and some of you guys were like, I don't care. I don't care what the order is, right? And some of you guys were like, no, it matters to me, right? If it can matter to somebody, then it's a permutation. It doesn't have to necessarily matter to you, but you got to think about it and say like, okay, would there be students where doing, like I said, math and English in the morning to get them out of the way and have PE at the end of the day, would that make a difference to them? Right? There are people like that. My schedules, when I used to set them up in high school, either had a study hall at the end of the day or a PE, something that just let me like relax and get some energy out. Okay. But all of my hard subjects were early. I used to have my math. Right after math, I did English. I always wanted science next, history. And then I got into my like general eds, like the other stuff that was a little bit simpler. But for me, I always tried to put them like that because those were always the toughest subjects. I wanted my mind alert. Okay. The only difference between me and some of the students nowadays is me. I used to get enough rest at night, so when I got to school, I wasn't doing that. Right? I wasn't asleep. I was completely awake. That was me 5th period. Right? Tired. So then I wanted PE so I can get up and do something. Right? Get some energy out. So that's why for me it mattered, right? For me it mattered. This right here, this one is kind of an easy one to know that it matters because they said, look, there's 30 people and we're going to pick 3, but those 3 get rewarded, right? President, vice president, secretary, captain, co-captain, equipment manager, right? So there's something that goes towards that, right? Like if I were to tell you the first person I pick gets $100, the next one gets 50, and the next one gets 25. Do you want to be first? Well, I would. You're saying no, but I would want 100. I wouldn't want the 50. If I can get the 100, give me the 100, right? Pick me first. I'll take the $100, right? So, But again, you might have answered it, Santiago, for you personally, but do you think it would matter to other people? You don't think it would matter? Well, oh, okay. Yeah, I would say for some people it does. Maybe their monetary situation is rough. $100 makes a big difference, right? In terms of money, right? So that one I think is a more obvious permutation in this case because the way they pick them, you get rewarded with a job, right? This one, the last one, the combination lock, that's the hardest one because even I want to say order doesn't matter. It can be 1538, 1358, 1853, 1835. It doesn't matter. I'm using all four numbers, right? But the reason why this one is a permutation, why order matters, is because once you pick a number, you can no longer pick it again. That's the issue, okay? So because you have to pick all four have to be used. You can't use 1-1. Because if you use 1-1 and then you do 5 and 3, we never use the 8. If I picked 1-1 and I used 8 and 3, then I never use the 5. So it's important that I don't pick the same numbers. So I got to pick one number first, and then after that, I can't use it anymore. Okay? So so that's why this is a permutation. There's no way I can use a number twice. Okay? So let me give you guys the homework. Like I said, it's pretty easy. It doesn't take a long time to do.